roll.
Tracy, LA Guns is such, I guess, it's become an iconic rock band over the years. Who are some of the artists, though, that influenced you to become a funk rock musician at this point?
I mean, I grew up in the 70s, which and all the other guys did too in the band, so we were just surrounded by, great FM rock and AM rock. And, that being said, relative to today, it's a very small batch of influence. I mean, everything from ABBA to Led Zeppelin to Black
Yeah.
Sabbath. We love all that stuff. So we're not scared to incorporate all of those things into our music. I personally feel that that's what makes musicians unique is when they use all their influences and not just a
Sure.
couple,
Absolutely.
and that's what we're good at.
You guys have a 15th studio album out now, Leopard Skin, and I think Lucky Motherfucker is a damn good track. Was there something that really inspired this second single off the album?
Um, that was the way that Adam and I, that's our drummer that we use in the studio to write everything together, and we kind of write in sequence of what we think an album should be. So we write one song and then we have a conversation, well, what should be next, and then we'll work on some conversation we had. But Lucky Motherfucker is the exact opposite of Tasted. Tasted is very moving forward, very straight, not a lot of swing in it. And so the next song had to have a lot of swing in it. It had to have a lot of sway back and forth, and it had to be in a different key. And, it's so much fun, you know, putting these things together as opposed to writing a singular song, because it's like, okay, what's next? What are we going to do? How's this going to go? So it's always like a two man. It starts out with two men kind of building a foundation,
Okay.
and then Ace and Johnny come in and they bring in new songs, and then they add their say and their influence onto the existing, eight songs. And then uh, once that's all recorded and done, that's when Phil gets the songs for the first time. When they're done, it's like, okay, and he has a writing partner, Mitch Davis, and they go to town. And then, of course, when we get all those songs back with all the vocals recorded, they're completely different songs, you know, and that's the magic of it, of how we do it is we don't get in each other's way. We do the best we can on our own and combine those things, and then you have LA Guns albums. It's fairly simple at this point. I mean, it's a difficult process um, to come up with new music and writing stories and lyrics, but that's the hobby part. That's the exciting part. That's the getting the glue just right in the in the popsicle stick, so the whole creation doesn't fall down. um that's how we do it.
Leopard Skin is the latest album from your previous track from 2023, Black Diamonds. And I'm curious, this is your fifth studio album in 7 years. Is it just you guys are so inspired? Is it that the music scene needs more rock music? What is it that keeps you all pumping out these incredible songs?
Well, it makes it, first of all, it makes it exciting for us, to always be creating or playing live and then having breaks in between those things, small breaks. So, I mean, that's just what a band does. I mean, the stuff that I grew up on and when we first came out, that's just what bands did. You rehearsed and you wrote and you recorded, and then you wait for the release to come out very impatiently, and then you go out and tour behind it. And we just stick to that, so the albums really fuel the excitement to go play live. It's a chance to start all over again, every year and a half, every 2 years. and it keeps it fresh for us, and that's very important. Five musicians with ADD, it's like you gotta keep us interested, you know.
Well, Lucky Motherfucker is the latest song out. What kind of response have you been receiving from LA Gun fans?
LA Guns fans, they're always very open minded, and we don't necessarily give them what they're expecting, but they've been with us so long, and then the whole new younger audience that's latched onto us, they're just ready for anything. You know what I mean? And they know that it's not going to be the same. We don't do that. So the response, especially a song called "Lucky Motherfucker," it's funny, and it's dirty, and the song swings back and forth all over the place. I mean, how could you not love that song?
I'm curious, there's a number of tracks that are just so stand out on this album. Are there particular ones that are your favorites or ones that in love
Yeah.
performing live?
Well, we haven't performed any of them live
Oh, not
yet.
from the upcoming tour yet.
Yeah, yeah, we don't leave for a week and a half, but my favorite song is The Grinder. And, anybody that knows me musically can understand why that's my favorite one. But as a band, the band's favorite song collectively is Hit and Run, which
Okay.
is, kind of that song that mixes, all these like early goth kind of Lords of the New Church, Iggy, Dead Boys kind of things with more metal kind of sound, little Led Zeppelin thrown in there. So for me, so and like Chris Isaac's guitars over the top, so that song really kind of has everything in it, that collectively that we all love. And Johnny brought that in originally. That was his song. He brought in the guitar parts and all that stuff. And when he brought it over here to the studio, um, I just asked him. I said, "Hey, man, I want to kind of do something different on this." And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, 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 yeah." So that's a real standout for the band. But of course, like "Runaway Train" really sticks out. It's weird for LA Guns to do a song like that. It might be the best ballad we've ever written. I don't know, but I love it.
Such a great one. That was also one of my favorites off of the album as well. I've gotten to listen to the whole shebang. It's so good, especially for LA
Oh,
Guns fans over the years. They're really gonna embrace Leopard Skin.
yeah.
And I'm curious, you guys are headed out here on tour. You just had, the Monsters of Rock cruise, but now you're headed out on a US tour. What are some of your favorite LA Gun songs to still perform live?
Over the Edge is always exciting for me because I improvise all the way through it and
Oh,
throughout the outro. So like that one's always like really exciting. I mean, personally as a musician, I like the live thing because that's where I'm most myself and I'm most dangerous to myself, um, as a musician. Because I don't stick to what's on the records, and sometimes it doesn't work, but 99% of the time it works and it's great and it's very satisfying. Um, but going into Ballad of Jane or Rip and Tear or Never Enough, that connection that those songs have with the audience, the energy level just gets so high that that's where the live addiction is getting to turn the audience on and really giving it back to us. And then that's they say that's what keeps you young.
you have a great North American tour here. Are you looking forward to playing at certain places still? I mean, Whiskey A Go Go remains an iconic place at this point.
Yeah, we play there 3 times a year. We play there 2 nights in a row, like summer, and then we always do New Year's Eve there. That's our home, and we're their house band, and it's an honor. I mean, that is the most iconic nightclub for
Right?
rock music in all of history. So that's a real honor. But then most of the East Coast stuff, we play theaters now, and those theaters are beautiful, So they're all great. They all have their own unique, kind of, you know, opera kind of vibe, very old timey. And they sound the best. Theaters, the old theaters really have the best sound. So we get to do those now, and that's really good. And then with Tom Kiefer, which starts in July, the end of July, then we bump the rooms up even bigger. And, it's just, I really like everything we do because, we're not a headlining theater band, worldwide. So it's like, we have this chunk of the country where we can do that. But then we also play smaller clubs, and then we play bigger festivals, and then we play
Casinos, other great places too.
everything. We really we're kind of like a Swiss Army band. We just kind of do everything.
Well, what's next for you guys? Are you headed back into the studio after this tour for another album, or you guys are still fully focused on Leopard Skin for now?
Well, we're focused on Leopard Skin, and we're focused on, we're looking at a solid year of touring with some small breaks. But I'm always thinking about, the next recordings, like, what's it going to be like, what's going to come out, what are we going to do? It doesn't end, the creativity is, it's just what I do, and it's the most fun I have in life.
What would you like to say then to everyone who are fans and supporters of LA Guns and continue to support the incredible music you guys make?
I just am so grateful for all the fans that have they've just been there for us for years. And, we're excited to see you guys on tour. And always thanks for buying these records. Our records sold out. The vinyl sold out before it came out.
Wow.
You so to say I'm grateful is kind of an understatement, because the fans and the audience are what give us the fuel and the ability to go and now play live and make more experiences. But just overall, thank you for 30 something years so far of being able to do this.